Good morning and welcome back to Emperor's Path. Today we're talking about the update to the Fiddle Yard. Hello, welcome back. My name is SBJ and welcome to Emperor's Path. Last time in the video I talked about how I'd started building the frame for my Fiddle Yard to sit on. Now, previous videos are out there of how I started to construct the Fiddle Yard and the video for the frames. If you want to go back and look at those, you can by clicking up here somewhere. Now, since then, the Fiddle Yard is all in place and track work has begun to sort of move round. Now, I think this is my right. Yeah, my right, your left. It's early, is actually the main scenic section of the new layout, and that is effectively Ports Creek Bridge. What I'll do in a second is we'll go over and have a look at that, because that's something I haven't shown on the YouTube channel yet. It's all been on Instagram, so we're going to have a look at that in a second. That's going to be the section that effectively goes in here, so it's going to go in front, directly in front of the Fiddle Yard, and it's going to be the main part of the layout for quite some time whilst I knock all the kinks out and basically just have fun doing some scenics and just running trains round and round. That's the main thing behind it. So behind me over here, last time you were here, this was sort of in situ and I haven't finished connecting all of the tracks up. I can confirm the tracks are all connected now. All of the tracks have power to them. If you haven't seen it before, I use copper tape to effectively act as my bus wire. Soldering's not my strong point, as woodwork. Woodwork wasn't my strong point either, but soldering's also not my strong point. So I put all of the feeder wires onto the track, put them under the board, but then I have two lengths of copper tape that run from that end all the way down to this end, and if they don't run fully, they're connected by dropper wires to connect between the boards, yada yada. That makes it so much easier for me to run the bus wire that goes all the way up to the end. Now at the moment, there is a temporary, just there, is my NCE power cab front panel. That's not where it's going to go in the end, but that's where it's so I can run trains. So if you've looked on Instagram, you'll have seen there have been some trains running up and down here. I've tested some of the points. The main thing I've been doing is actually building the Fiddle Yard and trying to take stock of what the final length of each Fiddle Yard is going to be. So, have a sip of coffee. That's hotter than I thought it would be. And we're going to talk about the Fiddle Yard lanes. So, in the previous video I showed you that not all of the tracks are the same on both Fiddle Yards. They're slightly different, just to give me a little bit of playability of what I can run and sort of try and maximise some Fiddle Yards to make some trains longer, which means that some of the other ones will be slightly shorter. So, I've got a nice little cheat sheet here. Now, I'm going to be talking about these from the front to the back. So the first 6 lines are going to be the inbound line. They're going to be the down line. They're going to be the ones that effectively would be going onto the island on the scenic board. And then the 6 at the back are going to be the ones that are coming off the island on the scenic board. So if you're new, I'm modelling Ports Creek Junction, which is effectively the bridge that goes from Portsmouth to the mainland. Portsmouth is considered an island and it's a beautiful bridge section, and hence why I'm modelling it. I like just running trains round and round. I don't necessarily have to have any particular operations or anything like that whilst I'm doing so. That is something that I am going to look at doing later down the line, but right now we're going to be having a giant Fiddle Yard with just a 2-lane track that basically goes round and round. So it allows me to run trains that I want, get them to just keep passing round, and then eventually I'll go, right, time to change trains. I will have, effectively, some more controllers for my NCE power cab, which will allow up to 3 people to operate trains if they so wish, but I also have it so that, effectively, one person could run this by themselves if they wanted to. They could run the trains on both lines, they can run the points, they can do all of that. But then the option of having an additional person and another person. So you'll have one person who acts as the signalman, and basically that person will be in charge of controlling the points for the Fiddle Yard. Then you'll have another person who will control the up line, and you'll have one person who will control the down line. So it allows you to basically play trains using those three things. It means that you can swap about with people and stuff like that. Likewise, you can swap people around. So say, for example, you've been working on the up line for quite some time, you can then swap and then become the down line or become the points controller and stuff like that. That's the plan. The idea is that it's simple enough you can run it by yourself, but also there's a little bit of playability where one person controls 1, 2, or 3, and you have a little bit of playability with that, which I'm very excited about. So, working from front to back, let's talk about how long the trains can be that go in there. So all of these numbers are measured in Mark 1 coaches. Most of my rolling stock is Mark 1 coaches. I don't have a HST or anything like that. I don't have anything that runs on Mark 3, so I've used the Mark 1 coaches is what I have the most of, and it allows me to go, this is the length of trains. So when I'm saying this, you have to take into consideration that that number does include a loco. So you can have it, if it's a multiple unit and it's 8 coaches, that is 8 physical coaches. If it is a loco and some coaches, that would be 7 coaches and a loco. So let's bear that in mind. So first 2 lines on here, they are 8 coach fiddle yards. So that allows me to run 2 multiple units coupled together, or a 7 coach train with a loco and stuff like that. Or you can run smaller, you don't have to run that. Also, there will be a little bit of playability for some of the freight operations that I do have on the layout. Line number 3 is going to be able to run 9, then 10, and then 12 and 12. I never thought I'd be able to fit a 12 coach train if I so wished onto these lines. Now he's saying, but why would you run a 12 coach train? That's a very good point. But you know what does run out of Portsmouth? 3 4-car units coupled together. So I have the ability that if I wanted to, I could have 3 multiple units coupled together running on those lines, and that excites me quite a bit. And then the fiddle yard behind is going to be running on a 10, 10, 12, 10, 9, 9. So that one is more even across the board on what you can run with one very long line, whereas the fiddle yard at the front operates on there's a few smaller lines to make 2 very large lines at the back on that as well. So yeah, so that's the sort of level of trains that we're looking at on here. I'm still wiring up the points. I think this is going to be the bit that slows any progress of actually being able to connect the layout out fully to run trains, because once that board moves into here, it'll be very difficult for me to get to the point controllers. So what I do want to do is get all of my point motors wired up, ready to go, and then once I'm happy with that, I'll then be able to move the other unit in and put it here. So yeah, that's next. That'll be the next big update. So yeah, you can't see it, and I'm going to show you in a second a little tour, but effectively the fiddle yard ends just off screen down here, and then it comes all the way back round via 3rd and 4th radius curves, and that is where this end of the layout has finished. I need to get some more wood to create a fan that effectively goes from what is a 6-inch entry point, and I need to make that an 18-inch entry point so that it matches up with this board. So that will create a fan, and it, depending on how much space I have, there might be scope to add points and stuff like that on there so that I can create more storage. We'll see. We'll have a look at that later down the line. So on the other end, same thing, comes out of the fiddle yard, goes around with 3rd and 4th radius curves, and that effectively brings me to a nice U shape, and now I've got the bit in between to join it all up. So that's next. So we're going to go and have a look at the bridge section now as the final part of this, just to show you what it is and give you a rough idea of what it is. If you haven't already, go and have a look on Flickr and search Ports Creek Junction or Port Creek Junction. It depends who does it as to which one they put it in as. But you can see some fantastic rolling stock that goes over there, particularly from the 80s to the 2000s is the era that I'm modelling. It's quite a broad era that I'm modelling. But you can go and have a look on Flickr and you'll see some fantastic bits, and a lot of the inspiration I've got from there is on there. Because this is the first proper video that I've done that's going to feature the bridge, I do want to say a massive thank you to Dave from Bunter's Yard. Dave is the genius who created the bridge for me using laser cut MDF. If you haven't already, go check out Dave's YouTube channel. He also has a shop where the stuff that Dave creates is insane. He is a very, very, very talented modeler, and I think he deserves all the recognition that he can get on there. So let's go and have a look at the bridge section. So this is it. This is the Ports Creek Junction Bridge, complete with TV remotes. Get out of here. So yeah, so the board is a 6-foot board. It's 18 inches wide. I stole that idea because Greg from Ebsworth Street, when he created Gordon's Lane, it is effectively only 18 inches deep. Although it looks much bigger in some of the sections of it, it is only 18 inches. And I thought, you know what, that's the perfect size. 1 foot's not big enough. 2 foot for me sometimes feels a little bit clunky and cumbersome. So let's go with this. So the idea is that this is modelled on the bridge that goes from Portsea, or Portsmouth Island, and then goes across, and then over there will be where the M27 motorway starts, so that the trains go underneath that. The main idea is that I just wanted to build a bridge as a scenic piece, and also be able to finally work on some water, basically make some do one of the resin projects that I've always wanted to do, and hopefully make it look good. The reason I've modelled this particular area of it as well is there is an old fort, the old Napoleonic forts that used to protect the north of the island in case we were ever invaded by the French. And it's a fantastic stopping point or scenic break for the layout. So on this side, you'll effectively have one of those. You'll see that this has been stolen from the old layout and repurposed and cut to shape and size so that it fits with this board. And it will go under there. It's not completely the same as the fort that runs on Portsea, but for now, this will do as a good scenic break. I've done sleeper spacing on those parts of the board. I would never do it again, personally. It looks cool. I don't think it's worth the hassle. And I'm saying that as this is bullhead track that is already done, and I've done the concrete bits to try and match it. And that's as much as I've done, and I don't think I'd ever do it again. So anyone who can, I applaud you. Once again, it's NCE power cab, so there's the fascia that goes down there. At the moment, this is currently standing on IKEA desk legs, just so that it's off the floor to avoid me tripping over it, because that will happen. And as I say, this bridge has been built and designed by Dave from Buntage Yard. So once again, massive thank you to Dave on that one. Lovingly displayed on the bridge is my Class 37 in Network South East livery. If you know, you know. So yeah, this is the main scenic piece of the layout, and this is going to be the most of it for quite some time until I work on other parts of it. So yeah, the idea is I'm doing a smaller section and trying to make it as good as I can, rather than trying to spread myself too thin in terms of trying to complete one giant layout instead. So yeah, some may say a 12-lane fiddle yard, which can hold 10 coaches, might be overkill for this, but yeah. We'll see. I do have to add the third rail onto the tracks for it as well, but this is basically the condition I got it in before it got packed into storage for the move. So I'm really happy with it. I do have to bring it down to the same height so that it can meet those tracks there in the background, but as it stands, it's just nice having it up and in here. So yeah, there it is. So yeah, that's the update progress on this particular part of the layout. Next video is going to be a video where I'm simply just going to be loading rolling stock into the fiddle yard and just show you what's in there and give you a rough idea of the sort of trains that I'll be running. If you're new, I run a lot of electric multiple units, third rail products. I do also run a lot of diesels because I love diesels. And recently I've gotten a slight steam bug, so there will be some steam running on this layout as well, so something a little bit different for everyone. So yeah, next video I'm going to have a video of me just loading up the fiddle yard and putting particular stock in there and seeing what fits, what can go and what can't. So yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy that. If you would like a tour of the whole loft once it's tidied up, leave a comment down below, because that would be really interesting to see if that's something that people would actually care about, or whether you just want to see this section here, which is absolutely fine. Second of all, I am going to be taking a vote. I'll probably ignore it, but it would be interesting. Out of all of the locos that I have, if you've not seen them before, you can go and have a look on Instagram and stuff like that. But if there is anything you particularly want to see running for the first time on this layout when it is completed, leave a comment down below, because I'd be really interested to see that. I know what loco and rolling stock I want to see do the first official loop of this layout, but we'll see. If you do want to keep up with more things that I am doing on a more regular basis, you can follow me on the Model Rail Replacement podcast, which I do with my friend James from the Western Signalman. James and I do a weekly podcast where we talk about a particular topic each week, as well as doing a roundup of the news and just general thoughts and tips and tricks. You may see that I am sporting a new Emperor's Path t-shirt. These come in with a black print or a white print. This is the white print on a black t-shirt. I'm a solo person trying to do this, so I do all of this via Redbubble. If you haven't heard of Redbubble before, it is effectively you design something, they print it, and it saves you having to do a bulk of the costs, but they get most of the profit. So if you are interested in buying a t-shirt from there, the costs are not my costs, and Redbubble do regular discounts. So if you want to, you can go pick up one of these t-shirts from Redbubble, usually at a fairly decent price. Other than that, thank you very, very much for watching. YouTube's going to recommend a video that it thinks you're going to like in a second. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. And I'll see you guys again soon.